Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ria Aguinaldo. I am the Northern California Outreach Manager with Small Business Majority. And the webinar this morning is called Access to Capital 101, Funding Options to Start and Grow Your Business. Now, we're very excited to have a partner on this session. Opportunity Finance Network will be joining us later in the presentation to talk about their Venturize online platform that provides an interactive guide, an interactive online platform to help small businesses navigate lending options, and it has a whole host of resources and tools for you. So we're happy to have Laura Stebbins on that will give us a presentation about their Venturize tool. A couple of housekeeping items before we get started. We will take questions at the end of the presentation, so feel free to type your questions in the chat box in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. We will also make this slide deck available to you. At the end of the presentation, after we wrap up, we will send an email out to the email address you used to register, and the slide deck will be available for download. All right. Now, just a quick background about who we are. Small Business Majority is a small business education and advocacy organization. We celebrated our 10-year anniversary last year. We are national, and we have offices across the country, and in each of those offices we have outreach managers like myself that are very focused on working directly with local small business resource providers, working directly with business owners, and figuring out from the ground really what the challenges are in terms of small businesses, what they're facing to grow and starting their business. And with that information, along with extensive research, we work on the top issues of importance to small business. Some of the issues include workforce, healthcare, retirement. If you're interested in learning more about our research, we do a great deal of opinion polling, and all of it is posted on our website, smallbusinessmajority.org. This program, this webinar is actually a part of our entrepreneurship program that focuses on bringing education and outreach to small businesses. This webinar is actually held on a bi-weekly basis every other Wednesday, and we bring on new partners. We cover different topics relating to access to capital. So please, if you're interested in learning more about the webinars that we have coming up, or seeing what other webinars we host that you can access, or you could also get that information off of our website. I will have a resource slide at the very end that has all of the links. Here's just an infographic of our model. As I mentioned, we do a great deal of research. We have education, working directly with business owners and educating them on various topics to start and run their businesses is very important to us. With the research and in meeting with businesses directly, we use that information to propel our advocacy work. So we are very committed to ensuring that as legislation, as policies are proposed and are implemented, that they're going to help small businesses. We want to continue to level the playing field for small businesses so that we can grow our economy from the ground up. And we do also a great deal of engagement with small businesses around the media. So if you're a small business owner and you are interested in speaking out about certain issues, or if you have specific small business stories that you wanted to share through the media around specific policy issues, we are very committed to making those connections happen and having small businesses tell their story in the public platform. Here are the topics of discussion we'll talk about today. I will quickly go over background, why access to capital is such a big issue for small businesses, talk about a little bit of the research and sort of the trends or the shifts in business financing that we've seen. We'll jump into key questions to ask when seeking funding, and then most of my portion of the presentation will be about the alternative financing, alternative funding landscape, the options beyond conventional or traditional banks. And then I'll touch on the Small Business Borrower's Bill of Rights, which helps to push back against potential predatory lending that we're seeing that is increasing around small businesses. And then I'll hand it over to Laura Stebbins with Opportunity Finance Network, who will talk about their Venturize tool. And then we'll wrap up with resources and then Q&A. So what is the dilemma? We did a poll around what the top issues small businesses were facing, and 90% of small businesses we polled say that the availability of credit is a problem. Now, with that being said, the availability of capital, having responsible and the right options for small businesses is crucial in order for small business startup, survival, and growth. However, what we've seen is there has been a shift in the access to capital has been the top issue facing small businesses. There are a number of reasons as to why that has happened, but one of the most significant reasons is due to the shift in small business bank lending. At this point, small business bank lending, it's been down 20% since before the Great Recession. We've seen consolidation of community banks. Many of the community banks that have been a mainstay for offering small business loans did not survive the Great Recession. Traditional or conventional banks have now more strict underwriting standards. So in terms of the businesses that are sort of credit-worthy or able to apply for and obtain those bank loans, many small businesses are sort of ruled out because of poor credit, or if they went through a foreclosure, the odds are sort of stacked against smaller businesses that are applying for those small business loans. And we've actually seen a complete shift in the loan size. So at this point, when you are looking for financing at a conventional big bank, you may not even see a loan option for less than $250,000. We have seen big banks really focused on larger loans, $1 million and above, and those very, very crucial, those important small dollar loans, microloans of even less than $50,000, which most small businesses are looking for, are no longer an option anymore. So with that being said, it's important to note that while the small business bank lending has shifted, the good news is that there are more options now than ever before that are alternatives to traditional banks to help you find that financing that you need. Here's a snapshot of sources of funding. Just wanted to give you a view of where these alternative options are now. So if you're taking a look at this chart, family and friends, personal and business credit cards, personal savings, I'm sure that you've tapped into some of these different sources early on as you're starting your business, and at this point you may still be funding your business with these sources as well. But there are now newer options on the right column here. We'll focus on the right column, community development financial institutions, microloans, community banks and credit unions. These are the options that we'll sort of walk you through, because these are sort of what we've seen as options that we believe small businesses should at least have a general understanding about. All right. If you're interested in learning more about the options that we don't cover today, we do have the information up on our website, and you can actually find more information on the Venturize platform as well that Lauren will talk about later in the presentation. So now we'll jump into about 4 different alternative financing options that we believe small business owners should have a general understanding about. So first off is Community Development Financial Institutions, or CDFIs. Now, CDFIs are organizations that have been certified by the U.S. Treasury. They can be banks, they can be nonprofits, they can be low-interest loan funds, but these are organizations that are typically mission-driven. So they offer loans usually of less than $250,000 for entrepreneurs who are ineligible for traditional bank loans. These options and these entities have really stepped into the space to fill the void in that traditional bank lending. And the financing and the funding may be used for a wide range of business purposes. CDFIs usually cover a certain geographic region. So sometimes you will see there are organizations that are CDFIs that have multiple branches across the country, but you'll also see some CDFIs that are very focused specifically on a certain city or even on a region within a city to help to revitalize and invest within that local community. CDFIs often provide in-depth support that includes mentorship and technical assistance paired with the financing itself. So what that looks like is when you work with a CDFI and you're talking to the loan officer, once you apply for that loan, oftentimes we will see that there's a requirement for that borrower to attend a business financing workshop or cash flow management. And that loan officer will sort of keep in touch with that borrower to ensure that the payments are being made on time, that they're getting the information and sort of the financial education, financial literacy support that they need to repay that loan. If you think about it, that is a way for a CDFI to ensure repayment. You know, making sure that you have the tools and the resources and that you understand what it takes to pay for this loan. That information and that assistance will not only help with this particular loan, but it will help to run your business smoothly and can continue to provide support going forward. Many CDFIs offer microloan programs of less than $250,000 or less than $50,000. So if you're interested in finding a smaller dollar loan, CDFIs may have that option for you. A list of some of the pros and cons. I will start with the cons since I just talked about smaller value loans. Some CDFIs only offer smaller dollar loans. So if you are looking for above $250,000, you might not be able to find that at a CDFI. Personal collateral and guarantee is often required for CDFIs. And I will note also that because CDFIs are mission-driven organizations and many of them are nonprofits, they're very, very different. So here in California, we have a whole host of different CDFIs. One example is Opportunity Fund. They are a sort of higher volume CDFI that their loan process from application to sort of delivery of the funds is very, very quick. They sort of function very similar to a bank in getting that application and that process turned over quickly. Whereas you do have other CDFIs that are more focused on technical assistance. They may be take a little bit of a longer time for you to get that application in. So it's important to, as you're looking at CDFIs, to shop around, find one that would work best for what your needs are and that you feel you can sort of trust through that process. And again, for the pro, I'll just mention here, great option for entrepreneurs that are unable to secure a traditional bank loan. And then again, that added benefit of technical assistance support and a business coach, a business counselor to walk you through that process is certainly a benefit for businesses. Opportunity Finance Network, who I'll hand it over to, is a national membership organization of CDFIs. They have a great locator tool, but Lauren will talk about that later in the presentation. All right. Now moving on to the SBA Loan Guarantee Program. The SBA, the U.S. Small Business Administration, provides a loan guarantee program for borrowers who are unable to obtain a traditional bank loan. The important part about the SBA Loan Guarantee Program is that the SBA is not the actual lender for the funds, but they are a guarantor. So what that means is you will apply for an SBA loan through an SBA lender. That could be a CDFI, that could be a credit union, or even a traditional bank. But the SBA provides a guarantee to provide incentive for the lender to make that sort of riskier loan. So the SBA will actually guarantee a portion up to 85% of your loan. So in the event of the default, the SBA will kind of sort of cover that amount. Loans are used for a wide range, such as startup, working capital, inventory. The primary programs are 7A and the CDC 504. The 7A loan is essentially their bread and butter loan. So more often than not, we see small businesses applying for that 7A loan because it does cover a wide range of uses. SBA also has unique programs for microloans, disaster relief, and special programs for veterans and the military. A couple of important points to note about the SBA Loan Guarantee Program. What you will get in terms of your terms, in terms of the interest rate, will be very competitive. So the SBA loan programs do offer very favorable rates for small businesses. There are no gotchas, no balloon payments. The loan that you will receive will have very clear terms, and you will know exactly what your payments will be and when you will have to pay that off by. With that being said, this is a government-backed loan, and the application process will have a very, very extensive checklist for you to compile. So as you're working with your SBA lender, please make sure that you understand and that you compile all of that information, that it is that you don't have any missing information or you don't have any dated financial statements, because we have seen as the application process is going through, if you have any of the missing documents or dated documents, that can really delay the process or even result in a denial. The SBA does have resource providers that are local across the country, such as the Small Business Development Centers, Women's Business Centers, and SCORE chapters. Those are entities that can provide technical assistance on financing, and they can also direct you to the local lenders that they work with, and can help you sort of do that handoff process. All right. Now I'll jump into now a very, very important topic, which is alternative online lenders. Now the options that I talked about, community development financial institutions, SBA loans, I did not cover community banks and credit unions in this presentation, but those are the options that are alternatives that have long been established in the small business financing space. But now, in the last couple of years, we have seen a new breed of online alternative lenders that are innovating small business lending. They're expanding new options for entrepreneurs, and the growth is rapid. these lenders are providing new benefits, such as simple, streamlined application processes. Usually when you're adding technology to any industry, you're alleviating some of the issues or the challenges that happened in the past. So with alternative options, you're now seeing quick approval, quick delivery of funds, and you're also seeing the use of technology and a new source of social data to assess risk. We are also seeing new payment structures through alternative online lenders. But with that being said, it's very, very important to note that online lending is largely unregulated at this point. So while we do see some benefits to the space, such as the ease of use and the quick approval and delivery, we are seeing typically higher pricing, so higher interest rates than what you'll find in more traditional options. And you will also see new organizations, new companies, and new lenders that are not being very transparent in their pricing, that are masking very high interest rates, and are not sort of transparent in how the pricing models, their new pricing models, will actually work for you and how much they actually cost. So with all of that being said, we do urge small businesses to please proceed with caution. At this point, it's very important that we encourage you, if you are looking into an online loan, we highly recommend that you visit with a business resource provider, such as a technical assistance organization or a CDFI or a nonprofit mission-driven lender, to help you understand what that loan might actually cost you, and just sort of get a check off from someone before signing up for these loans. Now I'll talk about quickly talk about three specific types of online lenders, just so that you understand what we're looking at and how these differ from these more alternative traditional options. So the first is online marketplace lenders, and these are often referred to as peer-to-peer lenders or online term loans. These lenders connect small businesses with a marketplace of institutional and individual investors. The financing that you're applying for, the application process will look similar to a traditional bank loan application, and the actual capital will also sort of be similar to a traditional bank loan. So it will be a term loan with a fixed multi-year term and a stated APR. And it's important to note that for all online options, all online financing options, your interest rate will be higher than what you will get at a traditional bank. All right. We have seen that these options are focused on transparency and pricing and the overall process. Some examples of online marketplace lenders include Funding Circle, Lending Club, and Prosper. All of these organizations, which are those that we work with. The next option is an online cash flow lender. These lenders are generally focused on short-term working capital loans, short-term 6 to 12-month loans with very high interest rates. So you'll see rates usually above 25, above 30%. We have seen these options go as high as, when you calculate the interest rate for these, we've seen 150 plus % in interest rate. And these options use non-traditional underwriting algorithms, such as social data. They'll look into your UPS or your FedEx merchant accounts to see how your payments look on those, or sort of to gauge whether or not you're making payments on time. We've also seen some of these lenders look into Facebook reviews or Yelp reviews, into really tapping into the social data, essentially figuring out ways beyond the credit score, beyond collateral to ensure repayment. Perhaps the most important aspect of online cash flow lenders are that loan payments are made by daily deductions of a fixed amount or percentage of sales. So rather than citing an interest rate, these lenders will require access to your business bank account, and they will take those loan payments out of your business bank account or your payment system on a daily basis until the loan is paid off. Now, that new payment structure, again, please be cautious of these new payment structures. We have seen that these lenders can have very opaque pricing models, can be very difficult to calculate the actual interest rate of that you're paying. And just note that since these payments are being taken out on a daily basis, can really have the ability to hinder and to stifle your cash flow on a daily basis. So please be aware of this pricing model, and again, check in with a financial advisor or a business coach to make sure that you are able to sort of withstand that. We have talked to and worked with a lot of our CDFI partners that have had to do a great deal of refinancing on some of these online cash flow loans because small businesses just couldn't afford to pay those loans after calculating the actual price of it. And then lastly, I'll talk about merchant cash advance. So merchant cash advance, or MCA providers, are the most expensive options out there in terms of online lenders. So merchant cash advance providers have been around for decades. They provide a portion of future sales, or they provide cash upfront in exchange for a portion of future sales. So they're not actually lenders, but they're credit card payment processors. And they take a percentage of credit card or debit sales daily until the loan plus a very high premium is paid back. Generally speaking, MCA providers are the payday loan versions for small business, and they provide quick and unsecured funds at a very, very high price. Now, with that being said, a couple of tips. While we do understand that there are times as you're running your business that you are in a pinch, that you need just a quick infusion of funds, you need to fill a purchase order, or you needed some funds, yesterday or a week ago, and you need that today. Please note that merchant cash advances really should be a last resort, if even a last resort at all. We have seen these options very, very expensive, and many of these MCA providers do have very deceptive and aggressive advertising processes, promising, quick money within 24 hours, no credit score needed, fast cash. Please note that quality underwriting does take time. And if you do find yourself in a situation where you need the merchant cash advance, please review all terms, all fees, and keep an eye out for any prepayment penalties that might be imposed on the MCA. All right. Now, the last topic I'll quickly talk about is our Small Business Borrowers Bill of Rights. Now, we've seen, particularly in the online lending space, a rise in predatory lending. So alternative lenders have stepped in to fill the void, and since they're operating in a largely unregulated space, there has been predatory lending and the lack of transparency, lack of accountability held upon these new lenders. So we, along with a coalition with the Responsible Business Lending Coalition, a coalition of organizations that are marketplaces, advocates, business organizations, we've developed the Small Business Borrowers Bill of Rights, which essentially identifies 6 principles that we believe small businesses deserve in their financing. So small businesses deserve the right to transparent pricing, the right to responsible underwriting, and what we believe are sort of pivotal principles to uphold in the online space. Now, what that means for you is as you are looking into your funding options, please ask yourself these very important questions and look at this checklist that we've put together on the BBOR, or the Borrower's Bill of Rights. So what is the interest rate? Is the interest rate actually stated for you? Are there any upfront fees? Are there any prepayment penalties? If you're going through a broker, is that broker disclosing their fees in a transparent manner? So all of this to say, just please ask yourself these very important questions and make sure that the loan, that the option that you're signing up for is in your best interest, and that your lender is actually making the loan and looking at doing that quality underwriting and making sure that you can indeed make that payment. All right. Now that is the last slide for my presentation, and here are some other resources for you if you're interested in finding more about access to capital. Now with that, I'll go ahead and hand it over to Lauren Stebbins, who's the Vice President of Small Business Initiatives with Opportunity Finance Network. Lauren will talk about Predatory, which is their online platform created by Opportunity Finance Network, and she'll talk about the process, talk about how you can access great information, great loan products, and resources on the Venturize tool. So Lauren, go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Rhea. Well, it's great to be here with everyone this afternoon, and I'll just start off by talking really briefly about OFN and why we created Venturize. As Rhea mentioned earlier, OFN, or Opportunity Finance Network, we're a national membership network of more than 240 community development financial institutions working across the country, and working in several different financing sectors, housing, small business, community facilities such as recreation centers, grocery stores, consumer financing, and working in urban and rural areas and in Native communities as well. So we have a very diverse and expansive membership of community development financial institutions. About half, or maybe a little bit more than half, of our members do provide microloans and/or small business loans for startups and low and moderate income entrepreneurs and small businesses. So small business / micro enterprises, pretty big priority among OFN's membership of CDFIs. And so OFN decided to create Venturize because, as Rhea was talking about, there's been a relatively rapid increase of online alternative lenders for small businesses, particularly since the start of the Great Recession a few years ago. And while it has expanded access to capital for lots of small businesses across the country, it's very unclear in terms of, which of these lenders may be beneficial for small business owners, and which of these lenders may really just, have profit as their main priority. And as a result, OFN launched Venturize last year to help inform small businesses about not just online lenders, but just a range of different small business financing options that they have available, so that small business owners themselves can decide which options could work best for them. So, OFN decided to anchor the whole Venturize initiative by a website, venturize.org, and Venturize.org contains a multitude of information and tools that are easy to use and that are also, optimized for use on mobile devices that really just seek to provide small business owners with clear and straightforward information about different types of financing options and about the borrowing process. As I mentioned, it's not designed to really tell small business owners which options are are best, or, which ones to stay away from. It's really more, education. It's really more to give small businesses the information they need in order to determine what small business financing option is going to work best for them given their needs. And the platform, Venturize.org, it's completely free. Anyone can access it, and it's designed for all small businesses. But we do have a target of small businesses owned by women and people of color, just because these are two demographic segments of small businesses that have often had the most trouble accessing affordable capital for just a ton of different reasons. So, it is a platform for all small businesses, but we did want to make sure that we have those target audiences in mind so that we can really make the most impact. And so the Venturize.org, as I mentioned, it's kind of the anchor of our whole project. The goal with this, since we launched it last summer in June, was to reach 250,000 small business owners. And between June and December 2016, we were really thrilled to have reached over 330 small business owners through the Venturize.org platform. So I'm going to start just going through a few key tools and resources on Venturize.org that that we designed to be of most value to small business owners, that we designed we designed for small business owners to be able to access them quickly, get the information they want quickly, and to really help them get over the hurdle of not knowing which option could work, to at least being able to narrow down one or a few that they may want to pursue. So the first tool I want to talk about is our loan calculator tool. And this is actually on the homepage, Venturize.org. And you see this little bar at the top that says Discover the Right Loan for Your Small Business. And you can click on the yellow button to expand the calculator. And there's 4 pieces of information it will ask you to input: just your credit score, how long you've been in business, how much money you need, and in how much time you need the money. And so you can move those bars to coincide with what your specific needs are. And once you click the long blue button at the bottom showing my options, you'll see a screen that looks like this. And you can start kind of going through the different types of small business financing options that may work best for you, depending on what your specific needs are for financing. So as you can see, there's, the different options are listed. You can read a short paragraph about each option. There's a few small charts on the side there that help you kind of be able to compare these options pretty quickly. Those charts can kind of tell you, how fast you could get that type of financing, or if it's has higher interest rates or lower interest rates, characteristics like that, to just help you make an informed but relatively quick decision, so that you can kind of understand which options you may want to pursue and be on your way to hopefully securing one of those. The second resource I want to talk about quickly is just the Borrowing 101 section, and it's one of those sections that's easily accessible from the home page at the menu bar at the top, and you can explore just various types of lenders and types of loans that comprise sort of the landscape of small business financing. Some of the lenders you can read about. You can read about credit unions and CDFIs, which are referred to on the Venturize website as mission-driven lenders. You can read about crowdfunding platforms. You can read about banks. You can read about the Small Business Administration. Or alternatively, if you wanted to read about different types of loans, you can choose that option under Borrowing 101, and you can read about SBA loans, loans from CDFIs, business credit cards, merchant cash advances. You can read about all these different options just to get a quick synopsis of each and how they differ from one another. A third tool or resource I want to talk about is the loan application checklist. So this is one of the resources we have on the site that's really meant to help inform small business owners about the borrowing process. It's a very easy tool. It's really simply a list of all the types of documentation and the materials that you need to apply for a loan. And you can click the yellow buttons next to each type of document to get a little bit more information, and in some cases there's external links that you can click on to even learn more beyond what we have on the site. But this is really just to kind of give you a sense of like the different types of materials that you know, a small business owner will need in order to successfully apply for financing. And you can also kind of create your own custom list by checking off the items that you have yet to assemble or put together, and you can print that out so you can know exactly what else you need in order to get to that point of applying for financing. So a fourth tool that's similar to the loan application checklist in terms of it being kind of focused on the borrowing process is this nice web page called Ask the Right Questions. So this is an even simpler tool because there's not even any expandable buttons. It's simply just a list of questions that you may want to have in mind if you're going to talk to a lender. And it also includes a separate list of questions that a lender may ask you when you go in to talk to them about applying for financing. So again, this is a nice, easy prep tool. It just gives you a sense of what that conversation with the lender how it could go, and what do you want to be prepared to answer. What's going to be expected of you in terms of answering their questions about your financial background and the strength of your business. And so the last tool I want to quickly talk about is, and Rhea mentioned this, it's our mission-driven lenders locator map, or it's the map tool that has different CDFIs across the country that are providing small business and microloans. And so you can go to this page. You can easily access it from the resources button at the top of the Venturize menu bar. And you'll see Mission Driven Lenders Locator Map. Click on that. You'll see this screen. And you can type in your state or you can type in your zip code, click the yellow search button, and you'll see these red pins here indicate where there's a CDFI in your area providing small business or microloans. And you can click on those red buttons and you'll see information about that CDFI, their website address, as well as their phone number and their address. So as Rhea mentioned, you can take a look at this. You may want to, if there's multiple CDFIs in your area, you may want to look at all their websites, get a sense of which products they offer. You may want to just shop around just a little bit to see which one could help you out given what your specific needs are. And I won't go through all of these today, but there's even more on the Venturize website. There's a bunch of resources. We have 2 APR calculators. One calculator is for regular term loans, and then there's another APR calculator for merchant cash advance products. Those tools just really help you kind of get a better sense of what the full cost of your loan is going to be. There's a whole lending glossary that has definitions for common terms that are widely used in conversations with lenders and talking about small business financing in general. You can access our blog called Invent, which has news stories, original blog posts, as well as informational articles written by CDFIs that are part of OFN's membership about different educational topics for small business owners. There's a wealth of information on the blog, so definitely encourage you to check that out. The CDFI locator map, as I talked about, We have a story uploader feature, which we encourage small business owners that visit the site to share your stories with us. Tell us about how you found financing, or if you're still struggling, or what your experiences have been trying to navigate the lending landscape. And you can upload a story in no time. You can upload a picture with it. We can feature it on our blog. We're more than happy to. We want to hear from as many people as we can. And lastly, this last bullet, we have translated much of the Venturize website into Spanish. And if you go to the homepage at venturize.org, there's actually a little toggle at the top that says Espanol. And if you click on that, you're instantly taken to the Spanish version of the Venturize website. So we wanted to make sure that we made the Venturize resources and tools just that much more accessible by translating most of them into Spanish. So before I turn it back to Rhea, I just want to encourage you, please follow us on social media. You can find us at Venturize.org on Facebook and on Twitter. Of course, feel free to share or like or comment on our posts. We definitely try to push out lots of interesting information about the great work that CDFIs are doing, interesting stories about small business owners across the country, news stories that talk about special trends happening in the small business financing world. So you can stay up to date by following us on those platforms. And my contact information is at the bottom of that screen as well. So please feel free to reach out if you have any questions about Venturize and the resources that are hosted on it. And now I will turn it back to Rhea.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you so much for that really wonderful presentation. Venturize is just such a much needed resource and tool that's offered online. Something that when we learned about the product and the platform, we were very excited about it because we've just heard time and time again from businesses that, as they go online and they're literally Googling just small business loans, small business financing, popping up from that, you'll just get a whole lot of information that is so difficult to navigate, and that's usually how entrepreneurs and businesses have found these more expensive loans. So definitely appreciate Opportunity Finance Network and appreciate you, Lauren, for providing that overview. We're really excited about Venturize, and I think that we're just excited to also see where you guys take it, so that you're just going to build upon it. And I think that please, for businesses, check out the Venturize tool. And I also, as an advocacy organization, we encourage you to send your stories into them. It is very important for us to learn about what small businesses are facing out there. Much of the stories that we've heard about these very online, very expensive options or the challenge around financing has been anecdotal. So the more that we can come up with and compile actual stories of from direct small businesses across the country, I think the better we're positioned to provide products that will help you, to provide education that will help you, and then eventually on our end at SBM, help to craft policies and push policies that will help you around financing as well. So with that, I'm looking at the question and answer portion of the presentation here, but please feel free to type your questions here. As I wrap up, also follow us, Small Business Majority, connect with us in our network. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, so we are not a dues-paying organization. We have a monthly newsletter about small business policy, about our education, if you are interested in learning more. And we have a whole host of webinars that we host in partnership with business organizations as well. And there is our contact information. see here. One question that comes up that I do want to address here is regarding conventional bank lending. The question that always comes up is, since there are these amazing alternative options that are now offered out there, should I still apply for a bank loan? Our answer to that is yes. So we encourage you as a borrower to start with a conventional bank. What you will get from the conventional bank is you will get essentially the lowest cost loan that's offered usually out there in the market. It'll have the best terms, the best pricing for you. But with that being said, that's sort of the first step. If you're able to get the traditional bank loan, that's great. That is sort of the holy grail. The idea behind a lot of the alternative financing options is to sort of build your credit, is to create a bridge for you to at the end of the day, in the long run, to achieve or obtain that conventional bank loan. So please, we do encourage you to start with that bank loan. If you have gotten the denial from the bank loan, then there are these options, these alternative options that are out there for you. And we do find that many of the local CDFIs, they work directly with the banks within their region. So oftentimes we'll see that you start with a microloan at a CDFI, and that your loan officer could, potentially be talking with that bank in your region, and work very closely with them, and just letting them, even that loan officer at the bank, letting them know who you are, sort of vetting you as a borrower. So that's another benefit of CDFIs and of these mission-driven lenders, is they help to sort of bring you into the kind of mainstream or traditional financing market. All right. Now with that, we'll go ahead. I don't think we have any more questions left in the queue. So again, we will make the slide deck available to you. There is an email that will be sent to your email address that you use to register for the webinar. The slide deck will be available for download. And in the email, there will also be a link to our program survey. We would be very grateful if you just took about a minute or so to complete the survey. The survey is confidential, and it would help us to gauge our education and the information that we're providing. All right. Again, thank you to Lauren Stebbins with Opportunity Finance Network. Thank you to OFN. Thanks for partnering on this webinar. And Lauren, I just want to hand it over to you if you had any last-minute words.
Thanks, Rhea. No, I don't think so. I just encourage you to just visit the Venturize website, venturize.org, and have at it. Explore, dig in. We've done our best to create a bunch of highly valuable tools that are easy to use. So don't hold back.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you, Lauren. All right. Well, with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up. Thank you for joining our webinar, and take care of everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.